Story 1. When you hang out with them, it feels like you are defusing a bomb when there is nothing going on at that moment. Why is my highest rated comment about the one friend I gave up on because he needed to yell at me over the smallest things? I did not expect so many people to have this problem. I thought I was the only one who had not realized it right away. Story 2. Friends who only talk about their own success and are not genuinely happy for you or your family unless your achievements are smaller than theirs. Story 3. I am a jealous person by nature, and even though my jealousy flares up when I see my friends hanging out with other people, I would never let them know. I do not tell them because I do not want them to feel bad about doing the things they love, for example, having a social life outside my small world. If a person tries to box you up because they want you all to themselves, it is not proof of love or companionship. True love in any relationship, whether friends, family, or partners, is shown by respect and by allowing the other person to have free will. Story 4. Friends who are good to you one-on-one but constantly put you down in group settings are showing a big sign of insecurity or jealousy. Other signs include inappropriate attention-seeking behaviors, trying to twist the situation on you when confronted, not respecting your boundaries, being overly friendly with new people in a disingenuous way that signals they want to be liked the most, constant gaslighting, getting mad at you for not following the exact same moral playbook as they do, becoming uncomfortable in group settings and trying to change the subject or putting you down more if attention is on you, and acting like they can take constructive feedback but actually taking it out on you in small ways throughout the rest of the day. Thank you for the upvotes and the silver. I wish you the best of luck in removing toxic friendships. Do not waste your time on people who do not treat you with the respect you deserve. Story 5. I continually feel like I want to say something but should hold my tongue. Story 6. You see that you received a private message from them, and your gut reaction is to feel nervous. What is it this time? Story 7. They dismiss all your interests and achievements, while everything they do, no matter how mundane, is considered amazing. Story 8. They only talk to you when all of their other friends are gone. Story 9. They are always asking for favors but are never there when you need them to return one. Story 10. Friends who do not let you have any other friends and require 100% of your time when they cannot give you the same. Story 11. When someone keeps their phone in front of them the whole time, they do not want a friend. They want company. It is not the same. Story 12. Friends who are always happy to talk about themselves but never ask how you are or encourage you to share about yourself. Story 13. An inability or unwillingness to apologize when someone does something wrong is symptomatic of an ego issue that will eventually infect every aspect of your friendship. Story 14. My best friend in high school once specifically requested that I post a picture of us for National Best Friend Day or some similar holiday. I asked if she would be posting a picture of us too. She responded, "No, I have a lot of best friends, but I am your main best friend, so you should post a picture of us." The next couple of years were full of backstabbing and gaslighting, complete with occasional falling outs until we finally stopped speaking. Looking back, I cannot believe I did not see it coming. Story 15. Reading these comments is helping to calm my anxiety about whether I am a good friend. Thank you all. Story 16. They do not ask about you. They turn every conversation to themselves. When you talk about exams, they do not ask how you did. They focus on their own experiences. When you mention not sleeping well, they respond by describing how they did not sleep. When you say you broke up with your significant other, they talk about their significant other. Story 17. This happens when people are pushed out of a friend group. In my group, there were 5 of us, and when she joined, she basically bullied 3 of us, but it was not obvious bullying. Things changed, and before long I was being treated so badly that I began to hate myself. My friend and I managed to leave and reconnect with the original 5. The person who pushed everyone out is very social and not well liked because she is not nice, but she has now ended up with no friends. Story 18. Reading through this makes my heart sink with realization. Story 19. You will gladly do favors for them, but when you need something they will not help and will act as if you are ridiculous for asking. Also, when friends do not respect your boundaries. Story 20. Good vibes only, friends. That mentality is fine to have with yourself, but you cannot force it on others. My best friend adopted this attitude. From then on, whenever I went to her for support or advice, she cut me off and said, "Good vibes only, remember?" She claimed I was bringing her down. I put up with it for a long time because I thought she was right and that I was burdening her. Then I finally realized that is not how real friends act. They are supposed to support and help each other. Edit. Thank you for the silver. Many people have pointed out that some set boundaries because they are going through something themselves and cannot help someone else at the moment, or because the other person only brings negative issues. I agree. Neither extreme is a healthy friendship. Story 21. Some friends constantly call you for advice but never take it and continue to involve you in their drama. If you are not going to take action to improve your situation, stop asking me for help. Story 22. When they pressure you to do things for them or to act in a certain way and then act as if you were on board the whole time, that is coercion. When they claim they are holding you accountable for something you never wanted in the first place, that is gaslighting. When they take the high road when you get angry and refuse to respect your boundaries, they are playing the victim. Story 23. When you can't trust a damn word they say or any promise they make to you, you know you don't have a good friend. Story 24. I had friends who were one-sided. I was always the one to message, call, make plans, check on them, and offer help. I stopped reaching out to see if they would contact me, but they never did. Oh well. Story 25. I have a friend who talks about himself a lot. Everything is always about him. When we are out with friends and he is in the group, we created a game. Drink every time he starts talking about himself. It has made outings a lot more tolerable. Update, we do not do it behind his back. We have talked about it with him many times and he knows. He is not a bad person. It is just how he is, and he does not mean any harm. We are all close, so we made a game out of it, and now he often catches himself. Update 2. He joins in and will drink with us. Often he catches himself, says, "Ah, shit," and we all laugh and drink together. I am far from perfect. We have games and jokes about me too. Story 26. They never say anything supportive. Instead, they point out your flaws and cannot wait to humiliate you because they find it amusing. Then they say you are too sensitive or that it is just a joke. Story 27. Friends who are not happy about your success but are close when you are sad. Story 28. When you realize that you are more yourself when they are not around. I did not expect my comment to receive this much attention. Thank you for the silver. Story 29. Conditional friendship. We're friends until I question you in the slightest. And if I do, the relationship is over. Source. This happened to me yesterday. Goodbye, asfuck. Story 30. When they refuse to validate or compliment you, they respond to your accomplishments by talking about what they did to devalue them. Story 31. Someone who listens to gossip about you and does not shut it down. Story 32. Watch for people who say they will help but bail when you reach out, who pretend to forget to invite you or to respond to texts about events or parties, and who undermine you in group settings by correcting your stories or comments. Story 33. I have friends like that, but it prevents us from being close. Having to censor yourself is difficult. I have friends with different religious and political beliefs that I find extreme. I do not endorse what they say, but I keep my mouth shut because I know they would not be receptive. These friendships usually revolve around sports or music. Story 34. This is subtle and a bit counterintuitive, but beware of the rescuer martyr. This is the person who is always rushing to help and giving everyone else their all, whether or not it is needed or whether the recipient is comfortable with it. They are well-intentioned and generous with their time and energy. However, sometimes this becomes extreme. It can be a symptom of a toxic cycle in which they derive meaning and self-worth only from saving others. They may repeatedly swoop into other people's lives to fix things in the hope that someone will do the same for them. Although their intentions are good, they often lack healthy boundaries. They over-involve themselves in others' lives, take on too much, and make other people's problems their own. They become overwhelmed, mired in drama, and resentful, and then they become the martyr. The problem with being friends with this type of person is that the relationship is not equal. You do not simply enjoy each other and support one another during difficult times. Instead, you become a project, as does everyone else. Once you stop being a project, you are expected to provide support not only for that person's problems but also as part of the emergency response for their other projects that they have internalized as problems and drama. Story 35. You leave their presence feeling worse about yourself, mostly because they always have an excuse for what they say. When you ask them for anything, they claim to be too busy, yet they demand things from you. Many people overlook that they also demand a great deal of attention. Story 36. They choose where and when to meet without your input and act entitled if you are busy or cannot meet their demands. Story 37. If you tell your friend that you like someone and you are hanging out together, then out of nowhere they start talking to that person constantly, tell you they like them, and become jealous if anyone else talks to them. That is pretty toxic to me. Thank you for the silver. It is my first time receiving one. Story 38. If you have had a friend for a long time but you only seem to be able to talk about memories from the past, it could be a sign that you have grown apart and do not have much in common today. Each time you get together or exchange messages, it is always "remember in high school" or "remember that time when." That pattern may indicate you cannot connect on current interests. Edit. Thanks for the great responses. I am not used to so many responses. Is it ridiculous to thank people? Yes, probably. I digress. I should have clarified. Fondly reminiscing about the past, telling crazy stories, and sharing inside jokes are the foundation of any solid long-term friendship. It becomes a red flag when that is the only extent of your communication. Consider whether an intimate discussion about future hopes, goals, or confiding in each other would feel forced, awkward, or unnatural. If so, it is likely because you cannot relate to one another. That is when it becomes a red flag. The original poster's question is great. This red flag is often ignored because it does not seem like one until you analyze the depth of the conversations you consistently have. Story 39. Personally, I have always had bad experiences with people who say everyone is their best friend. When my best friend in high school started calling 10 different people, including me, her best friend, I realized I was just an accessory and that she was trying to surround herself with people who would love her. Story 40. A friend of mine has been making fun of me for years. She made fun of me whenever I did or said anything, even when I was serious. I did not realize how much it had affected my self-esteem until I became very angry with her over something else and no longer considered her a friend. She is mentally unstable. As her friends, we want to help her with that, but she is not giving us a chance. She loses her temper and expects everyone to adapt to her. The real problem is that she has not changed. The same behavior has been happening for years, and she is apparently not trying to work on herself in that regard. She still expects us to accept whatever nonsense she throws at us. I do not want to continue the friendship. Story 41. I repeatedly have to make an effort to maintain the friendship. It is understandable if someone is busy, but it reaches a point when it becomes a one-sided relationship. Story 42. Controlling, manipulative friends who try to change you rather than accept you as you are. Story 43. Friends who guilt-trip you for never hanging out but always flake at the last minute when you plan to meet. Story 44. Friends who encourage you to do self-destructive things because it makes them feel better about their lives. Story 45. You are with a group, but you are being brushed aside and excluded from conversations. Story 46. They are constantly on their phone, messaging or talking about other people, but they never reply to your messages. Story 47. If the only jokes they can make are at the expense of others, they are a ticking time bomb and may suddenly turn against you without warning. Story 48. Friends who are always on their phones when you make the effort to spend time with them. Story 49. Giving you random gifts to make up for sustained shitty behavior and making friendship transactional. I don't want your junk. I want you to quit being an ass. Story 50. Friend. Fuck this day. I'm so sick of this. 5 different people in the comments ask, "What happened?" The friend replies, "Message me, nothing," or gives no response. If you message, they reply, "Just had a bad day," and then say nothing. Sometimes they do not reply at all. Sometimes they say they will tell you later, but they do not. Chances are that nothing actually happened. Story 51. Friends who remain friends with people who traumatized you. Story 52. When they ditch you the moment they start dating someone. Story 53. This describes someone who is very nice, attentive, and supportive when you are alone, but who behaves differently when others are present. Do not make excuses for this friend. This behavior is completely uncool. At the very least, it shows insecurity on their part. At worst, it is a sign they are genuinely using you. Story 54. People who create and constantly dominate group chats. I mean, when they act like the alpha dog, as if you are privileged to be in their chat, or when they behave as if they are the final word on anything posted there. Story 55. You will say sorry for everything and filter words, so you do not offend them. Story 56. Having to comply with someone's opinion that you do not believe in. If you find yourself not getting along in an everyday way, that is a flag. Story 57. If anything you do together is always steered toward what they want, it is easy to miss at first when you are getting to know their likes and interests. Once you know them, it becomes clear they are just using you as an emotional or physical accessory. I had a friend like this for a while. We always did what he wanted, and he was not very interested in what I liked or enjoyed. He would rope me into whatever he wanted to do, and gradually I felt used. After a while, he pressured me into sleeping over at his place. I agreed because we had been drinking and I did not feel safe driving home. He took my keys and said something like, "You will get these back in the morning." He wanted me to sleep in his room with him and share a bed, which I had done before with other male friends, so it was not unusual. However, the way he said, "No, you are sleeping in my room," when I was lying on the couch made me uncomfortable. When we were in bed, he asked if I wanted to cuddle. I politely declined, and at that moment it clicked that I was only there to fill a need for him. If it had been one of my other close male friends who reciprocated my interests and needs, I might have been comfortable. But I realized he was not interested in me, for who I am, only in what I could provide him, that is, emotional or physical attention. I do not think it would have progressed beyond cuddling, and I was in a relationship, so I did not want to cross that line. It was the pressure and the way he handled the situation that made me feel used and uncomfortable. I left early the next morning and kept my distance. It took me a while to work up the courage to tell my girlfriend because I felt embarrassed for being in that position and for feeling used. Moral of the story: respect yourself enough to look out for your own interests and needs. Wanting to be a friend to someone does not mean you have to be, and it does not mean it is the best thing for you. Story 58. They try to correct your personal preferences for you. They bully you out of liking certain clothing, music, food, and art. They often frame it as if they are doing you a favor. It is a sign of emotional immaturity when people treat others like playthings rather than human beings. Story 59. They won't make the effort to understand. You might be reaching halfway across the table, and they won't even try to reach you. Story 60. They only want to talk to you when it's convenient for them. I just realized this is happening to me. Story 61. When people try to heavily influence what you like, it is frustrating. I had a friend who almost had a mental breakdown because I was not playing Minecraft with the default controls. It's really annoying, and there is a difference between joking about it and being excessively upset. Not to sound morbid, but one day I am going to die, and I do not want to spend my life worrying about things that nobody else cares about. Making a personality out of this trait is incredibly childish. Story 62. Never-ending one-upmanship. You're not their friend. You're their ego crutch. Story 63. Those friends who are only friends when there is no work to be done. Story 64. Friends who are mean to you when other friends are present but are nice to you when they are not. Story 65. When it is just you and them, they act like your best friends. In a group, they make jokes about you and subtly put you down. Story 66. Being flaky is unacceptable. Nobody is so busy that they cannot send a 2-second text to cancel plans or even to confirm them. Story 67. When a friend spends an inordinate amount of time bad-mouthing other friends, they will say things about you too. Story 68. Friends form a clique within the wider friend group and slowly push you out until you are all but forgotten. This keeps happening to me, and I do not know how to get close to or connect with people anymore. It always starts out great, even amazing, but people magnetize to each other and I find myself alone again. Story 69. Friends who leave you to go to a get-together while you are with them. Yeah, fuck those guys. Story 70. Not so much a red flag as an annoyance. One of the worst traits a friend can have is being cheap, constantly skipping out on their round at the pub or never chipping in for the taxi, just being miserly with money. It's an awful trait, and to be honest, saving a few dollars by being cheap will cost you your friends in most cases. Story 71. If you always have to initiate contact or make plans, and you are giving 100% to the friendship while they are giving you 0, it is time to move on. Story 72. When you tell them how their actions make you feel and they say you should not feel that way. Story 73. Friends who always say I miss you but never follow through when you try to make plans. Story 74. Some friends never talk to or hang out with you unless you call or text them first or invite them out. I am referring to the thoughtlessness of these people. If you cannot respond or reach out first, this does not apply to you. At a minimum, communicate with them so they understand and do not feel hurt in the friendship. Story 75. Reminder. Be the excellent friend your buddies need. Tell them you love them when you finish a conversation. Love is an important part of friendship, and I tell all my friends I love them, men and women. They are the family I chose, so I let them know what they mean to me. Text or call them whenever you think of them. Something is better than nothing, and chances are they have been thinking of you too. Root for them in their personal and work lives. You want to see your friends and their families happy and successful. Tell them they deserve the promotion or help them get excited about a new project. Be honest when you need help and when they ask you for it. Most importantly, be there for them. Remind them of their goals and help them find new things to reach for, like a house, a car, or a savings plan for their future children. Talk about your lives in meaningful ways. My best friend and I have known each other since kindergarten. Now we are both 26, and I am incredibly grateful for his friendship and companionship throughout the years. Help your friends, love them, be kind to them, challenge them, introduce them to new things, and do not give up on them. Story 76. As soon as other people are around, they immediately begin making fun of you and continue to do so. Story 77. Not making enough time for you. If you are always the one to start conversations and make plans, if the other person has plenty of free time but not for you, if they cut visits short because they have to be elsewhere, or if they invite others to events you plan to attend together, these behaviors show they do not respect you or the friendship as they should. Relationships are a two-way street. Given that there are billions of people, you should put in some effort before I leave you for someone else. Story 78. The concept of red flags is misleading. Nobody is perfect. We are not defined by a single trait. We are complicated. You must accept people as a whole or not. I would not let one red flag make me judge someone as untrustworthy or a bad friend. I would accept it as a single trait I do not like, while they may have other qualities that make them a wonderful friend. Story 79. After growing up a bit, I realized that most people I texted regularly would never ask anything or start conversations. Starting conversations became so taxing that I have not made new friends in years and have lost contact with them. Story 80. They leave whenever their close friend comes around, then return as if nothing happened. Story 81. Friends who spontaneously invite you at the last minute, which I enjoy, and you have to decline because you already have plans. When you ask for a rain check, they take it personally. It is even more frustrating when they never invite you again. Story 82. They push you aside once they get a significant other. Story 83. Here is a summary of the first 3,000 comments. That is as far as I could get. They just keep repeating after that. There is a lot of overlap. 1. People who expect you to make time for them but will not make time for you. 2. People who only talk to you when they need something or ask for favors but never reciprocate. 3. People who dismiss your achievements while bragging about their own, cannot be happy for you, enjoy your sadness, and call you a bully if you criticize them. 4. Anyone who cannot apologize when they are wrong. 5. People who vent to you but refuse to listen when you need to vent. 6. Friends who constantly hit you even jokingly. 7. Friends who constantly put you down or call you degrading names. 8. People who constantly say it's only a joke or sorry, I'm just being honest when they hurt you. Occasional hard truths are different, but not constant hurt. 9. People who lie regularly or steal. You cannot trust them and the behavior escalates. 10. If you stop contacting them, would they ever contact you? If not, they are not true friends. 11. People who constantly dominate group conversations. 12. People who try to isolate you or tell you who you should or should not like. 13. Friends who push your other friends out of the group. 14. People who use the group to single someone out until that person is gone, then move on, eventually having no one left. They may claim no one likes them for unusually specific superficial reasons and will try to insert themselves into your circle to isolate you. 15. People who are mean to people or animals for fun. 16. People who hold grudges. 17. People who make the relationship transactional, for example giving gifts after treating you badly to buy forgiveness. 18. People who give unreasonably valuable gifts, especially regularly. They may be buying friendship or overextending themselves. 19. People who try to make their problems your problems. 20. People who only share drama and create so much anxiety that you are afraid to speak, always feeling like you are defusing a bomb. 21. You always feel worse after interacting with them. 22. People who only speak to you when all their other friends are busy or when it is convenient for them. 23. People who one-up you on everything, always claiming worse or better experiences to outdo you. 24. People who try to embarrass you in front of your other friends. 25. People who try to solve all your problems and become your savior, controlling you through obligation by giving you unwanted help. 26. People who offer help but never follow through. 27. People who say they miss you but will never actually hang out with you anymore. 28. Friends who will not let you have other friends and demand all your time. 29. People who never give you their full attention. 30. People who always interrupt you in the middle of a story and never let you finish. 31. People unwilling to pay their fair share, who regularly borrow money and never repay it. 32. People who try to control, manipulate, or change who you are. 33. People who do not respect your boundaries. 34. People who make you feel bad about your interests, clothing, or hobbies, or who try to change your preferences rather than respect them. 35. When you can only be yourself when they are not around. 36. Friends who cannot tolerate a difference of opinion. 37. People who do not make an effort to understand you, even when you are making most of the effort to connect. 38. People who gossip excessively. If they talk about others to you, they will talk about you to others. 39. People who encourage you to do something self-destructive to make themselves feel better. 40. People who pressure you to use substances to excess. Be cautious if they may be sexually attracted to you. 41. Friends who reframe every conversation to be about themselves, even under the guise of empathy. 42. People who are highly passive-aggressive or who cannot handle rejection. For example, they ask to hang out at the last minute, you decline, and they take it personally and blame you. 43. Anyone who shows blatant hatred, bigotry, or racism should not be your friend. Story 84. Friends who don't let you enjoy your own achievements can be painful. I had a friend I thought was very close who told me it was pointless to audition for my high school's select choir. When I got in, she said she was surprised and pretended not to remember what she had said before. Thinking I had held her in such high regard and then having her put me down like that gave me huge confidence issues. Story 85. People who are mean to other people or animals for fun are bad people. Story 86. Those friends who stay with you only if they get something from you. Story 87. Friends who abandon you when they enter a relationship or develop a crush. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.